Well, it's been said that without food, people have only three options. They can riot, they can immigrate, or they can die. Harsh realities in the developing world where literally billions of dollars have been spent to try to relieve the suffering. Yet underlying factors remain which perpetuate a cycle of poverty and hunger that cause poor health and then in turn low productivity. It is a world very different than ours in this land of plenty, but one a group of Oklahomans are hoping to change.
Once on the ground, the problems facing Uganda presented themselves quickly. We started our journey in Uganda's largest city, Kampala. Words like congestion and traffic simply do not do justice to this beast known locally as the jam. You see, the latest estimates put the population of this town at about 1.7 million people. That's around 500,000 more than Oklahoma City. But the square mileage of this city is closer to the size of Enid. The country is slightly bigger than Oklahoma, but with more than 10 times the population, and an annual population growth rate of 3.2%. But it gets more complicated than that. You see, while the population is growing at 3.2%, agriculture is growing at only 2.6%. And in a country situated on the equator, with 2 complete growing seasons and bimodal rains, 38% of children are considered malnourished or stunted. Now, in terms of agriculture, there are a small number of large corporate farms in Uganda. Tea, corn, and sugar are all grown in abundance here. But the vast majority of farms are small, an acre or less on average, and shrinking, because farms tend to be broken up among the children, and on average, every woman here will have 7 children.
Production agriculture is what we would consider in the United States as gardening. You know, obviously whenever people have a garden on a half acre, they don't have John Deere tractors and Massey Fergusons, and they do all of their planting and most of their harvesting by hand. And when you go around the country and look at agriculture, it's lots and lots and lots of produce and gardening programs going on, and very little large-scale production agriculture.
As we continue to pull back the layers and see more and more into these issues of food security, the lack of a food storage infrastructure, problems in the transportation system, and the political infighting between ministries looking to see who has to address and who can address issues like malnutrition, you begin to see just what an immense task our fellows were up against. And yet there is some remarkable work being done.
We started by growing tomatoes.
Our first taste of that work came on the north side of Kampala, visiting a newly formed cooperative of tomato farmers.
However much these farmers are near the town, the main city, they're very poor. At the moment, the tomatoes are not grown at a wider scale, but we're trying to improve on that. And we have the saving schemes. We are going to, with the money we've saved, we are going to enlarge our gardens.
Cooperatives like this one were once the norm in Uganda, but several decades ago, they were abolished in the changing political winds.
Yeah, cooperatives, it is unfortunate that they were abolished, but they are slowly coming back because of their advantages. We are encouraging them to start consolidating or doing collective marketing, whereby they bring whatever little they have produced, collect it together at one collection center, and then they market it out.
Tomatoes are a cash crop and fetch an attractive price at market. So this group has joined together as a cooperative, pulling resources and savings in order to send the community's children to school. This is the kind of work our fellows tend to be involved in, teaching new techniques, disease controls, and marketing strategies.
And joining me now in studio is the Emmy-nominated journalist who brings us these reports, Austin Moore. So I got to ask, how was that cassava root I saw you munching on?
Cassava was wonderful. That was a wonderful group of people. They really shared a lot of their different fruits and vegetables they grow with us very generously that day.
You know, something I was struck watching your report is, first of all, you know, the cooperatives that you're working on is exactly what that country needs. But when you take a look down the road, there's a couple of things. One, that their population in the developing world is expected to increase, according to UN numbers, by 2 billion people by 2050, just in 40 years. And then you also figure in that the UN projects that food prices are going to rise by 50% by that time. That's kind of a collision course, is it not?
No, it is, and there are great challenges here. The longer we were in the country, though, the more we started to peel back the layers and see just how complicated the problems are. Yes, population growth is one of the most daunting things they're facing. Yes, the lack of money in the country and the lack of distribution of the money in the country is a big issue. But you get into infrastructure, you get into agricultural policy, you get into practices that are centuries old. The problems really stack on top of each other, and there's no simple cure for these things.
Yeah, certainly complex issues, and one that I think probably the answers lie with the next generation, do they not?
They do, and I think one thing to point out, there are a lot of folks in other countries, China is doing a lot of investment there, we're doing a lot of investment. Really though, as you talk to the people, it needs to come from them. There's a strong feeling that they need to guide their own future, and I can't disagree with them on that.
Well, that is what your next report is about, as Austin takes us to some of the schools in Uganda.